Well, I think the most unpopular thing I could say today is that you should be considering a fertilizer purchase for your farm. It's that time of year, folks. Planning for 2026 is here. We bring in James Mitchell from Crop Management Network to cover all things fertilizer, give us the latest, and help us decide, is this a time to purchase? We also bring in Tyler Yaremchuk from the Nation Network, not about crop marketing, folks, but about NHL hockey and honestly, all things sports moving forward. He'll come in once a month. All right, folks, let's get into it. Episode 96 of the What the Futures podcast is right now. Hey, folks, welcome to the What the Futures podcast, your quick guide to better farming decisions. Alrighty, folks, welcome into episode 96 of the What the Futures podcast, of course, recorded in the UPL studio each and every week. You know what I think about UPL here in the month of October? I start to think about planning for 2026. I start to think about cleaning seed, figuring out my rotation. Well, as you're thinking about that for your cereals and pulses, don't forget about Rancona Trio. All right, 3 powerful fungicides in one amazing seed treatment. Talk to your local retailer. They'll get you hooked up with the details here on Rancona Trio from UPL. All right, folks, McDavid signed with the Oilers earlier this week. I got to represent here a little bit in this episode. So I'm in bright orange, the orange and blue here for the start of episode 96. Of course, we'll see how our results are. Recording this Wednesday. We play Wednesday night, open the season against Calgary. Now, I've got Tyler Yaremchuk joining me this week. Tyler, we joked about talking about Trump and Carney's meeting and talking about commodities, but that's not Tyler's thing. He is all sports all the time. He works with the Nation Network, and we thought, hey, why not get somebody on the show here every once in a while to talk about something a little different. So Tyler's going to join us on a monthly basis to talk about the NHL hockey season and kind of keep us in the loop on what's going on in the sports world. So that's new. That's going to be new here, season 3, just around the corner. But we got him on a little early this year. I've also got James Mitchell to talk about fertilizer, because why not? It's planning time. Lots of decisions to be made. And I know you wrap up harvest and you say, well, Ryan, I don't want to do any thinking about next year. Oh, I'm sorry, but you have to, or you should be. Okay, you need your rest, you need your relaxation, but maybe you find a little excitement and joy in figuring out your plan for next year. Hey, maybe you do. Hopefully you do, because it is that time. All right. And then Kyle Gibson with Ag I3 joins me. They're going to do a little hotel airport transfer. They're going to do a little transportation for us at the Olympic curling trials down in Halifax. And so he's on the show this week as well. So a triple threat when it comes to guests here. All right, so we got some housekeeping to get out of the way before I chat crop markets. For housekeeping, of course, conference-wise, the agenda has hit your inbox. If you are listening to this show and you are subscribed to our email list, you already got it. You know the agenda. You don't have the fine details yet. We're going to drill down over the next couple of weeks and get those fine details and send that to the registered conference attendees, but you get the gist of it. All right. You kind of see the layout. When do we expect you to roll into town? When are we wrapping this thing up? And what do we have planned? All right. And so that's in your inbox. So there we go. As of recording, there's about 25 tickets left. It's actually been quiet the last couple of days here, but 25 tickets to go. That is it. All right. And so registration for the conference closes October 17th. I said that last week, but it's October 17th. That's when registration closes. Application closes. And then from there, it's just a matter of time before we sell it, right? So we have, again, folks, 4 breakout sessions. Within those 4, we have many different speakers, and you pick, which session you want to see. You'll pick from 3. Okay. Don't worry. Most people are going twice. 5 keynote speakers, not including myself. I guess I'd be the 6th if you want to put me in that spot. I'd say I'm the 6th keynote. And we even have bonus sessions as well. We have bonus sessions bright and early in the morning for the keeners out there. Those that want to come and get after it. Get the, I was saying earlier this week, kind of the hair of the dog, right? You just dive into it right away and get going. So there we go. Lots of fun stuff planned. Everything's coming together quite nicely. Still haven't figured out how to raise capacity, but hey, I'll appreciate the sellout when we get to that point. Okay. So you got to get on it though, folks. Even, email me if that's as easy as I need to make it. Ryan at whatthefuturespodcast.ca and say, Ryan, how do I do this? I want to get to Moose Jaw. I will send you the application link. Okay. So we're here. You're on watch. You're on notice. The countdown is on. I don't know if you have a week, 2, 3. I don't know where we sit in a couple of weeks here, but it is getting very, very close. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Honestly, we got swag showing up every day. That's off to get its, with branding done on it. We've got all these orders out there. We're meeting with some of our vendors, making our final decisions. Also, meeting with sponsors. And appreciate a couple new sponsors jumping on board here for this year. Brett Young being one of them. They stepped up here for that Wednesday evening Prohibition Tunnel Tour and dinner with Brett Young. So thank you very much. And Scotiabank also joining as a sponsor for 2025 as well. So yeah, very, very cool to see all this coming together. All right. So that's deadline number 1, October 17th, application deadline for the conference. Deadline number 2, October 20th, 11:59 p.m., the Harvest Hustle photo contest. That is the last day to get your pictures in. You guys are kicking butt. You're doing a phenomenal job getting some great entries here. We're going to pick the winner sometime later that week. I haven't decided if we're doing a live thing yet or if we're just going to announce it on the Friday episode. Still trying to make that decision here over the next couple days. But all you have to do if you want to potentially win 2 tickets to go to Halifax to watch the Olympic curling trials, a little Canadiana, is that even a word? Let's go with that. Yeah, go check out some curling. Go check out the city of Halifax, the East Coast. You'd have time to go for a drive. Maybe check out New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island. Sky's the limit once you're there. We've got curling tickets for every draw, 2 seats for you. VIP meals in the VIP lounge 3 times a day. Your hotel's covered, your flight's covered. What a nice little way to kick off your winter. A month before Christmas, you come to Halifax. Then we're going to see you down in Moose Jaw at the conference. Then all of a sudden, you're going to do a little Christmas shopping, and you're going to get to Christmas. All right. I shouldn't joke about Christmas in October. Some of you are shaking your head saying, what is this guy doing? And I'll say this week, we're at the point now in our society where and I learned this over a couple days ago, the Halloween stuff, it's October 8th. The Halloween stuff, there's like a little bit left, and then right beside it, Christmas. And there's like, for every 1 Halloween piece, there's 10 things for Christmas. And it's too soon. Like, what, can we not celebrate a holiday first? Celebrate a day, live in that for a moment, and then focus on the next thing? So, yeah. In fact, Chantel was telling me that she was at Canadian Tire this week in Sherwood Park, and customer service was getting completely reamed out. I guess very, very vivid or livid actions and words being said. And she happened to catch, as she was paying, she kind of caught why they were upset. And yeah, you guessed it. It was because of all the Christmas decor that was out there. I'm sure that customer service rep had nothing to do with that decision. You might want to go up the chain a little further on that one. Anyway, all right, folks, let's get back to business here. All right, so the Harvest Hustle, October 20th, 11:59 p.m. Okay? All right. From there, let's get into some market stuff here for just a moment. Now, the most important thing that you can do right now, in my opinion, is that taking the time to figure out your plan moving forward, your crop marketing plan moving forward. And to me, it could start in 2 different ways. It can start with logistics. As you'll hear later in this episode, James Mitchell talks about, I think he said this in the episode now, or maybe that was before we started recording, but he took a drive across Saskatchewan and there's lots of grain bags out there. I don't think James is the first one to notice that or highlight that, but there's a crop out there, folks. So in 2025, in the winter of 25, 2026, logistics is a big part of the conversation because you may want to physically move something and you may not be able to. You may be told that you're not able to. Hey, Willa, how's it going?
I just came to say do you want a cup
I would love to come for a bike ride. Should I just hit pause on the show?
If you want.
Okay, I'll hit pause on the show. Folks, I'm going to go for a bike ride, and I'll be right back, and we'll keep talking about our crop marketing plans. I'll be right back. All right, folks, heck of a bike ride there. You gotta try to get that stuff fit in here before the white stuff flies. So, all right. So I think what I was talking about was this winter with your crop marketing. You may not necessarily get a chance or have the opportunity to move the grain, move your commodity when you want to, right? It could be a case where things get backed up with a bigger crop, so on and so forth, maybe some slower demand on the canola export seed. Anyways, all I'm saying is you got to sit down and figure out that roadmap here for the winter months. All right. We've seen this before. We've had these types of crops in the past, and yeah, you know how it goes. All right, folks, let's get into it here with James Mitchell from Crop Management Network. Then I'm going to come back to you with some positive moments, some crop marketing stuff. We got Tyler Yaremchuk and, of course, Kyle Gibson as well with Ag Guy 3. Alrighty, folks. Well, you guys have lots of questions when it comes to fertilizer, so why not go to the source that gets us the best information? I've got James Mitchell from the Crop Management Network joining us here once again. James, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, hi, Ryan. Thanks for having me back.
So there's a lot of, harvest is on the tail end. There's still a few areas that have some acres to take off, but it is on the tail end. We're getting into that fall application time frame. It was 23 degrees Celsius at our place here yesterday, warm and toasty, but a little bit of fall field work. And I'm just getting bombarded here with fertilizer questions. The urea market seems to have softened a bit. Farmers wondering, what they should be looking at, what they should be doing here with that, entering that planting stage for the 2026 crop. Are you guys kind of seeing lots of action on the retail side? Is it quite busy, picking up every day right now? What's that like?
No, I would say it's definitely quiet right now. We've seen a lot of disinterest from the growers, and that's translated to I think the retail's having a level of disinterest in owning a pile of inventory. So I would say when I look back at other years, we're definitely behind in our buying habit compared to traditional.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk globally here first. When I messaged you the other day, what caught me by surprise was the latest out of China and urea export. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with China right now?
Yeah, China I think they're a wrecking ball right now. They're throwing a lot of curveballs at the industry, whether it's their absence of buying soybeans within the Americas or what they're doing in urea. A year ago, they were totally absent from the urea market. They were producing about 195,000 ton a day and exporting, less than 500,000 tons for the year. Now this year comes around, they're going to export 2 million tons, but now they've extended their export permits a couple of times and they could export up to 4 million tons this year. So that's thrown the industry for a loop. So if you couple that with India's buying habit this year, they've recently announced their final urea tender for the 2025. They're looking for approximately 2 million tons. And I think the world's just waiting to see whether China will abide by their October 15th export permit license, or if they're going to extend it and participate in the final tender of the year.
So from China, from the export side, you said upwards of potentially 4 million ton here of exports this year. Well, what is it like normally, and like normal times, if we can even say that? Like, is it 4, 5, 6 million tons normally, or what's the benchmark here?
I don't think you can use the word normal when you talk about China. They've exported up to 10 million tons historically, and a low of 500,000. So, it's kind of like spin the wheel and try to figure out what they're going to do. They're definitely focused on food security for their people, and they want to have affordable fertilizer. And they've been able to keep their fertilizer prices down with exporting this year. So that's why they've continued to exceed their initial 2 million ton target. Okay.
All right. And out of India, from a buying habit, has there been a a change recently out of India, or is this kind of standard business that they're doing right now?
A few years ago, India invested a lot into urea infrastructure, and they were going to be self-sufficient on urea, is what they told the market. Well, they've had 7 tenders, I believe, this year. They've had a voracious appetite for urea right now, partly because phosphate's so expensive, and they've been kind of encouraging growers just to apply nitrogen or more nitrogen than phosphate. But they're definitely not self-sufficient, and they've bought a lot of urea this year. I think, it'll be over 7 million tons by the end of this tender. Earlier on in the year, they had a heck of a time supplying or securing any urea. That was mostly due to the Israeli-Iran conflict, where we saw prices spike up. And they've been getting more urea as the year progresses. So they should subscribe to 2 million tons this year, which, the market, if you're a seller, you're looking for that outlet to soak up a little bit of global excess at the moment.
So globally, I didn't look at the chart, but just reading that globally, urea value is kind of softening here the last month or so. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah. I think if you want to relate it to NOLA urea barges, we saw NOLA urea barges test 450. I would say, you could call a range of 375 to 390 for NOLA urea barges today. We're getting a little bit of pressure on prompt urea barges as river close approaches. So that means that by October 6th, they should have all their barges heading north of St. Louis. And by the end of October, urea barges aren't permitted north of St. Louis, which obviously adds a bit of a premium to handling urea, because then you're relying on rail and truck to distribute that product versus the barge system, which is by far the most cost-effective logistical means of moving any product.
Okay. All right. So let's turn our attention here to, Western Canada, to the prairies. What are we seeing from a capacity production standpoint? Is everything firing on all cylinders right now when it comes to producing nitrogen in Western Canada?
Oh, definitely not. We have Redwater, which is Nutrien's flagship facility, has been down for planned maintenance for several months now. They're looking at restarting at the end of the year. At the end of October.
Okay.
And we also have Coke Brandon, which has been down for planned maintenance for several months as well, and they're just coming back up now. And Coke Brandon's a monster when it comes to liquid fertilizer production. So with Brandon being down as long as they have been, that's going to put a lot of pressure on liquid product availability from now through spring. Economically, we just can't bring UAN out of the U.S. It's not concentrated. It's 32%. We got to bring it up here. We got to cut it down to 28 so that it stores over the winter. And then we just look at the freight costs of bringing it up. You just can't do it. So we're kind of at the mercy of Western Canadian production on UAN. That product's just going to be just tight, snug for now till the end of seeding, just due to that turnaround at Brandon.
And I think globally, UAN, they talked about being fairly tight as well. So that's just not a Western Canadian issue?
No, the U.S., they were empty at the end of seeding last year, as little inventory as they ever had. And then, we're still having effects of Europe being shut off of production due to high gas costs due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So, Europe's created a bit of a void there as well. So I just see UAN, all liquids being snug from now till spring. Okay.
All right. Now, what about NH3? What about putting down some juice this fall? It's a little it's very dry in my neck of the prairies here. I don't know. I haven't seen any action. I haven't driven that much, but I haven't seen any action out there the last couple of days. Are you thinking there's going to be a pretty heavy application fall here, or is it a little too dry out there?
I think if you looked in central Alberta, you would say it's a little bit dry. But it's such a small segment of the fall application market. I had the privilege of driving out to Archerville, Saskatchewan last weekend. And as you go east, moisture conditions get better and crops look big. I mean, I have never seen so many grain bags in fields as I did on that trip. So it looks like most of the prairies are probably teed up for a fairly normal fall application of ammonia. And I would say ammonia is going to be snug this fall, due to nutrients outage at Redwater. They've got to get that plant up and firing and producing ammonia to fulfill some of their obligations this fall. So,
okay, all right. Okay, so we've seen a little bit of a softening in urea values here. I would call it, at one point it was about a 5% reduction from the high that I had seen. It's a little bit more of a reduction from that. I see it being cool, a little quieter on the planning side today. But is there kind of an opportunity here? Like if the retail side's quiet, values have pulled back here. Is this not an opportunity to at least consider getting some business done, in your opinion?
I do. I think in the next 30 days, it's a good opportunity to take a layer. It's uncertain times globally, right? Low grain prices, high fertilizer prices. Guys are minding their pennies, and they should be. I would say when I look at last year, we got into a logistical pinch because of grower deferral, retail deferral. We saw urea prices spike to $1,100 by spring. If this deferral continues from the retailers and the growers, things will flip as far as now we're into a logistical market and we're going to see a price run up again by spring. Because there's just a massive amount of product that has to move within a finite period of time.
Yeah.
So I look at it this way. If you miss the absolute bottom of the urea market by $30 a ton, that's going to cost you $3 an acre. If you miss the urea market by $200 a ton, it's going to cost you $25 an acre.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm a farmer, I'm stepping in now and I'm taking a layer. I'm taking a 30 to 50% layer on my urea. And possibly, depending on cash flow, looking at snugging that up before my year end, if that's what I need to do, or waiting maybe into the new year. But after that, I just see this market being extremely tight because of lower production in Western Canada than we had a year ago. And Western Canada was a net importer of urea a year ago, where we used to be an exporter of 1 million tons a year. That's just kind of the shift on run rates, grower demand, preference of product. As we get guys switching out of ammonia into urea, we see more demand there. I think at the end of the day, by spring, we see higher urea prices than we do today, and likely significantly higher.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it, right? At some point, not buying, retail not buying, farmers not buying, it does flip when you say, well, I'm going to farm next year. I'm going to put in all these different acres and I need this product. It's just, you have to get it. So there's only so much time.
We're being punished in Canada a couple of ways. We have still a 35% tariff on Russian fertilizer coming into Canada. And Russia is one of the only countries not tariffed by the U.S. right now, whether it's a reciprocal duty or a countervailing duty or so forth. So 60% of the urea available on the river in the U.S. is Russian origin, which disqualifies it from coming to Western Canada. So when you see a price on NOLA, you're not sure of the origin. And right now, it seems like some of our traders that are quoting us on import tons are charging a premium for non-Russian tons.
All right. Yep. I was going to ask this, James, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I wanted to bring up the carbon tax. And this is just kind of coming off the dome here, off the cuff. But I was chatting with a gentleman, and they just like fertilizer. When we get our bill for fertilizer, there's no carbon tax on that, right? But is there something in the like the carbon tax being applied somewhere else, like that is trickling down to the farmer? Like obviously in freight and stuff like that, but is there somewhere else that it's coming through?
I don't think so. I mean, Western Canadian producers typically only can charge whatever the import number is they're competing against. So, the Western Canadian producer is they're eating the carbon tax because they can't pass it along because they're, a dealer's not going to pay more for a carbon tax product than they can import it for. So the Western Canadian producer has to be competitive against imports, whether that country has a carbon tax or not. So,
okay, all right, okay, appreciate that. All right, let's talk about some other products now. Let's talk about phos. That's been an ugly one from the buy side for the farmers for the number of years now. But what are you seeing on the phos side? Any reprieve coming? Any change in that in those price dynamics?
It sure doesn't feel like it. I mean, phosphate is a product that's just tight globally. You go back to China. China used to be the world's largest phos exporter. They've cut 5 to 6 million tons of phos exports out of their book. They're really focused on conserving their phosphate rock reserves for the future. And then there's additional demand in China for phosphates in battery production. So that's a real reason why the world is so snug on phosphates. You couple that with India, falling behind on their purchasing of phosphates for a number of years and really having to play catch up now, trying to rebuild those stocks because farmers can't just keep applying nitrogen-based products to grow crops. They're mining their soils, obviously, and they're going to run into a deficiency there. So we've seen an urgency from India to be purchasing. That's, 2 strikes there. Third strike seems to be that North American phosphate production, which is mainly based in Florida and the Carolinas, with Simplot having a bit of production in Idaho. North American phosphate run rates are below 60% for the first quarter of the fertilizer year, and that's really snugged things up. Then you also have countervailing duties and reciprocal tariffs on phosphates coming into the U.S. It's really just a recipe for high prices, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you see some positivity in that one, let us know. All right. Let us know. Because I think I was doing crop rankings for 2026. And of course, this year didn't look good either. And many got the yield to change their financial picture for 2025. Maybe we'll see that in 2026 as well. But it's certainly tough out there. All right.
Yeah.
What about sulfur? Any changes in that market lately?
Yeah, we've seen raw sulfur prices, unfortunately, increase globally as well. So, a double whammy here. Ammonium sulfate prices are likely firming to going higher. And also, sulfur is an input product for phosphate production. So, as far as phosphate production goes, raw sulfur to build sulfuric acid and ammonia are 2 key components to building phosphate. Both of those have seen increases over the last month. Phosphate producers have realized, $30 to $40 increase in production costs because of those 2 inputs. That'll translate to ammonium sulfate staying where it's at, if not heading higher. So. Okay.
All right. And my last one here is just potash. That old reliable, right? Potash is fine.
Yeah, potash is fine. I mean, I guess you could view it as probably the best priced nutrient available to farmers right now. Western Canada, it's not a major nutrient for us like it is in the U.S., but they definitely see phosphate application rates getting cut in the U.S. to the 10 to 15% rate. That'll probably translate to potash as well. We're not going to see any collapse in any of the products, but potash is very well priced today. Likely seeing not a lot of price change in the near future on potash.
All right. So my last one for you today, James, it's just, over at Crop Management Network, have you guys done any research or spent any time just looking at, correlation between the grain pricing environment and the fertilizer pricing environment? Like when you get to a level of low prices like we're experiencing here on the grain side, do you guys have any research or anything you've looked at that says, hey, in 12, 18, 24, 36 months, that has an impact and lowers fertilizer prices? Is there anything out there like that?
I could say in the past you could correlate the price of nitrogen to a bushel of corn, and you could correlate a ton of phosphate fertilizer to a bushel of corn. Those have really seemed to decoupled right now based upon demand, and eventually low grain prices will curb demand in some areas. But if I could kind of take a bit of a left-hand turn. Growers are going to get, in the U.S., are going to get a substantial subsidy here, announced likely this week to the tune of $10 to $14 billion, right?
Yep.
Mostly
Yep.
directed at soybean farmers. That likely will go towards, whether it's machinery, input, something, right? The growers are going to put that money to work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably going to artificially keep fertilizer prices high.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a number of the total farm bill to U.S. growers this year, close to $40 billion from the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Crazy number.
Yeah.
So as long as you have those type of things happening, other places in the world, like India, heavily subsidizes their growers on fertilizer prices as well, right? China, they control fertilizer prices for their farmers as well. So when you have governments interfering in free markets like that, high fertilizer prices are unfortunately affected by those subsidies flowing into the growers.
Yeah, that was one thing that has been on my radar the last few weeks as well, is just another cash injection and what that does, that ripple effect. And don't get me wrong, James, this isn't like a blanket statement for everybody across the prairies, but if I think about even our own farm, like I said it on the show all year long, like we had a goal of $6 million. Like that was, $600 an acre. That was our goal. And we were nowhere near that, the way things were looking in July, right? And it was getting better, but we were nowhere near that. All of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, I started doing the math on, where we need to finish our canola marketing, and we're here. And not only that, but we have a path to higher than $600 an acre on our farm. And I think a lot of farms across the prairies, can kind of relate to that. Not everyone, but a lot. And so for us, the planning stage for 2026, it's not like we weren't planning, but it feels a lot better now than it did a month ago or 6 weeks ago. And so I think farms across the prairies need to, kind of think about that as well, to say, hey, maybe I did pull off a pretty nice 2025 here from a yield perspective. Let's rock and roll and tackle this beast for 2026 and get after it. So the U.S. is getting, there's a different thing. Subsidy from the government's way different than a good year, but I'm just trying to say that cash availability is better now than what we thought it was going to be a few weeks ago. So
it is. And, one of the things that we hear anecdotally is that, we're going to cut back on fertilizer this year because grain prices are low. And, you're not going to save yourself out of this environment. The way you're going to save yourself is grow the biggest crop you can. And you hear that from the U.S. Growers in the I states right now, if not a record crop, a near record crop. So some of those guys are going to be banging out 250, 280 bushel corn. They're not going to be cutting back because they know they need to grow as many bushels as possible. And I see the crop that we removed here in Western Canada too. And it's hard to believe that there's going to be a lot of nutrient reserves in the soil. You might cut your phos back 5 or 10 pounds for a year. We've been not replacing phosphate removal forever in Western Canada. You grow a 50 to 70 bushel canola crop and you're putting 35 to 40 pounds of pea down with your crop, if that. There's not many guys doing more than that. But you're at a 20-pound deficit there already. So I don't think cutting fertilizer back is the answer in this scenario. And I'll probably get a bit of hate mail about this because we're sellers of fertilizer. But I'm a firm believer that, you need to grow as many bushels as you can in all times, but especially when prices are low.
Well, and I'll pair that up with you as well, James, because from where I've sat in this space over the last 15 years or so, I call it like full send. Like let's get after it, go for the biggest every single year, because you need to get those bushels. You need to get all the bushels you can get in this environment. And I was telling my consultant clients last year, let's go for it. Let's figure out how to go for it and see how this works out. And, it's certainly helping. It's going to help them this winter and plan for next year. So definitely a sensitive topic, but you're a no nonsense guy. Ever since you've come on the show, you've told us straight as it is out there. And the listeners certainly do appreciate that. And I know it's tough. It's tough to look at next year and try to, create your path to profitability. But that's what we're all doing right now, trying to figure out that crop mix, trying to figure out how to tackle that marketing, how to save some money here and there. Where can we get more efficient? But that's good business. And we should be doing that each and every year anyway. So, yeah. All right, James, anything else you want to add before I let you go here? Certainly appreciate your time this week.
I wouldn't mind your input in telling me where you view canola as where does it rank in profitability for next year's crop? Because from our side of the desk, it looks like canola definitely is near the top earners for the growers. And wheat does not look good for us. So, when we work that back to nutrients, we see greater demand for sulfur products next year than we did in the past.
Yeah, I think overall from a line across the prairies north here, I haven't done crop rankings that include all the specialty crops or canary seed or, some of the smaller acre crops. I haven't gone there yet. But canola ranks the highest for many farms, and flax is in there as well. Like flax would be a top one, but again, friends don't let friends grow flax, right? So yeah. So I think from a crop mix perspective, you're going to see that canola acre climb. It's going to bump up as high as it can for many farms, and then they'll try to reduce their wheat acres as best they can. With that being said, though, James, like I was able to lock in a scenario for $8 spring wheat for next fall, not far from Camrose, Alberta, and so not that $8 gets anyone excited, but man, if you told anyone across the prairies today, hey, you can lock in $8 wheat in the stuff that's in the bin, everyone would put their hand up and would take that. So, there are scenarios out there that aren't terrible, I'll say. But yes, canola, $650 is where November is trading for 26. We're $14 canola, 13.5 to 14. I'm sure we'll get a little rally yet, at some point. That's the crop that's going to pay a lot of bills again for 2026. So, yeah. All right, man. Well, appreciate you coming on the show. And if something changes, we'll get you on as fast as we can. All right.
Great. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Take care. Well, folks, always good to hear from James. I know that, it's certainly not easy when it comes to making some input purchase decisions for next year. But, I think there has been some global weakness, some lower prices here across Western Canada. And, in my opinion, you do have to take a peek and layer in a sale at this time. All right. Before we get to Tyler Yaremchuk, let's get into positive moments for the week. Now, the farm wrapped up harvest 2025 is in the bin. Also had a good jump here on fall work as well. Jeff's been out there just cruising and keeping up with harrowing and everything right behind. So, we're sitting in good shape here. We're hitting planning mode here, kind of trying to dial things in for the 26 crop year. And so, wrapped up, everyone got home safely. Crops ended up being, better than expected, especially earlier this summer. So that was a big win. Quality held out as well for us. Some decent quality, made malt, low bleach on the greens, 1 and 2 on the wheat. Just feeling very, very fortunate here heading into Thanksgiving. Second positive moment for the week. Willa, my daughter, 5-year-old, she's started swimming lessons, and she's taken swimming lessons before, but she started her next round of swimming lessons. And between her last lesson and now, there's been a little bit of the water hasn't been her best friend. All right. And so she went for her first swimming lesson this week, and she had some nerves around it, a little bit of anxiety. She didn't really want to go to swimming lessons. So we talked about, her ability to do hard things. That, she might be out of her comfort zone a little bit, or she might be unfamiliar with the lessons and getting going. And she was, going to put herself out there and that it was okay to do hard things, and that she can do hard things. And of course, she went to her first lesson. She absolutely crushed it. She asked us before she got to the vehicle if she could go to her next lesson already. And we had to let her know that it was a week away. So she gets to do it next week again. But just nice to see your kid, succeed, find some confidence in that. So it was a great moment for her for this week. Last thing, I got two just last ones. I did do my first round of golf here this year with the boys. Went out on Tuesday, beautiful afternoon, 23 degrees Celsius. And course was in unreal shape. My golf game, terrible. But I did get a couple of good pokes out there, got a couple of nice drives. Didn't make many good putts. But anyways, it was a good time. And then lastly, I'll just go back to my blue and orange here with my Oilers re-signing McDavid for 2 years. It was a huge sigh of relief for me. So didn't think I was stressed about it, but apparently I was. So that was great. All right, I think this is a nice segue here to get into our discussion now with Tyler Yaremchuk from the Nation Network. All right, folks, I've got Tyler Yaremchuk making his What the Futures podcast debut. Tyler, man, how's your morning going?
It is going good. I'm not a farmer, so 9 a.m., that's early for me. You got me out of bed for this.
Well, these commodity markets trade all night, Tyler. So we get going nice and early. We got to read our news by 6 a.m. So we're early birds here, early risers.
Yeah, I get it.
So Tyler, give the folks a little bit of your background. Like what do you do? Like what's your day to day? Where do you work? What's your passion here?
So for me, I started in sports radio when I was only 19 when I started at TSN. I worked at TSN for 4 or 5 years, and then I made the jump to Oilers Nation and the Nation Network, and that's kind of where I've been for the last 4 or 5 years now. Yep. Right now, I host a couple of shows on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, I should say. Every day, 10 a.m. Mountain, I'm live on Daily Face-Off with former NHL goaltender Carter Hutton. And we do like a 30-minute news kind of show that just kind of updates people on everything going around the entire league. And then at noon Mountain, I'm live for 90 minutes a day on the Oilers Nation YouTube. And all of this is available as podcasts too. On the Oilers Nation YouTube with Oilers Nation every day. Myself, Liam Horrobin. It's just us kind of shooting the shit and doing an Oilers show for 90 minutes. So I do that. A couple of other pods for Oilers Nation Radio, Nation Real Life, stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of my day to day. Is I'm usually doing anywhere from 3 to 4 shows, articles, all that stuff, just churning out hockey content.
Nice, man. Well, I don't know how you keep it all organized. I have to do 1 show a week, and that seems to be enough over here. So awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you jumping on. I was golfing with Farmer John yesterday, or you know him as Farmer John. My first round of the year, and I'd never golfed in October, right? So we hit up Coal Creek yesterday, and I said Tyler was going to be making his What the Futures debut, and he said, "Can you ask him what he thought about the Trump Carney meeting in the White House this week and how that's going to impact farmers?" So it's a joke. It was a joke for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know who those two people are, and that is about the end of that. Like you said, how do I keep it organized? My life is just sports. So anything outside of that purview, I always laugh. I'm a very one-dimensional human being.
Awesome. All right, buddy. Well, that's why we got you on. Let's talk some hockey now. So the Oilers season starts today. All right. So let's get into it. I want to know, where were you when you got the McDavid extension announcement, and how did you feel? Like what walk us through those emotions.
Yeah, so I was sitting exactly where I'm sitting right now when I was talking to you, because the news broke at around 10:15. That's right around when we started to get the first trickles of information that, like, hey, this thing is going to get done today. So I was live on the air with DFO Live. So, I mean, you go back and watch the show. I'm kind of I keep looking at my phone. I got a big smirk on my face. Like, I was so relieved to see it finally get done. And then obviously DFO Live ends at 10:30, and it's like, oh shit, I got to get to our office downtown, because we're going to start Oilers Nation every day early. Like, as soon as I get there, we're hitting record, go live, and we're rolling. So I was speeding my way to the office, and my phone kept kind of lighting up, and you look and you see, okay, it's a 2-year deal. That's not all that surprising. And then I drive a little bit more, and Twitter lights up again, and I look, whoa, under $14 million. Like, that's crazy. I thought at the lowest, this thing would be $14 million. And driving a little more, look, under $13 million. And
Yeah.
kind of like, am I dreaming this? Like, what is going on right now? So that was kind of how the morning unfolded for me. Just honestly stunned that he took the discount that he did. Like 2 years was rumored the whole time, but if you would have, put a gun to my head and said, take a guess on what the AAV is, I honestly probably would have said 16.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it as well. I was at home and I was one of those people. I've been a very emotional fan the last couple of years, and I've said some things that I need to walk back. So like my buddies would be laughing if they heard that comment. So I was trying to play it cool, and I'm like, the extension, it'll happen. I'm not worried about it. But when it did happen, I had to just sit down for a moment. I had to just sit down, breathe a little bit. There's like a pressure release valve. It was unbelievable. I went for a little walk just to calm down because I was so excited. So, awesome, man.
No, for me, I was talking to some of the guys about this. Like, I'll be honest, we didn't really hype up the home opener, the season opener, as much as we usually do at Oilers Nation, because I think the McDavid thing was putting a damper on the whole fan base. And like for me, I was maybe like 4, 5 out of 10 excited for the season. It was like, all right, it's the start of the year. We all kind of know the playoffs are what matter around here. Yeah. But now that like Connor signed and then Wallman, you get Ekholm today, and it's like, all right, I'm up to like a 9 out of 10. Like, let's go. Let's smoke the Flames.
Oh yeah, I'm pumped for tonight. I am pumped. So the Ekholm extension comes out earlier this morning. What do you think about that? I think I saw like 3x4 or something. 3x4 million?
I think it's a really smart piece of business. I'll admit initially, like over the last month, 2 months here, I've kind of been more in the camp of, all right, he didn't look that good coming back from injury. What we've heard about his injury, or honestly, that might even need to be pluralized. It might have been injuries for Mattias Ekholm. They were pretty serious, and he's 35 years old, and there's a lot of miles on that body. And do you really want to commit to him before you see him on the ice this year and see that he can truly get back to, not quite the Mattias Ekholm of old, but something close to it? Because in the Cup final, we were talking about taking him out of the lineup. Like, he was barely a serviceable defenseman. So I was initially hesitant to do this, but when you look at that price tag of 3 years, $4 million, I mean, go look at what the LA Kings were paying defensemen this year. He's not getting as much as the Brian Dumoulin's of the world, who's far from a household name. So you do this with Ekholm, and you know what? If you would have bounced back this regular season, he's probably a guy that commands a 3x5, a 3x6. Like, again, look at the way the cap's going up. So to lock him in now at $4 million, even if he's not the Mattias Ekholm of old and he's a good third pairing veteran defenseman who kills penalties, that's the going rate for those guys. So it's a nice bet by the Oilers, because if he bounces back, it's a bargain. If he doesn't, you still paid market value.
I have a soft spot for Ekholm. I have an Ekholm jersey, obviously, but the reason I bought that jersey is we took a little family vacation to Maui after the playoff run 2 years ago, and bumped into Ekholm and his family at the resort we were staying at. So it was trying to get my 3-year-old at the time to make friends with his kids, because she wanted to make friends with everybody at the resort. But the Ekholms, she got shy and turned away. I'm like, out of everybody here, this is who we want to be best friends with. Yeah. So
anyway. I mean, his story too, like, he's so easy to like. And when they acquired him, like, a player coming from Nashville to Edmonton maybe wouldn't be all that excited about it, like their family lifestyle wise. But I remember reading the stories that like his wife was crying tears of joy, saying like, our kids are going to get to grow up in a real climate. They're going to get winter now.
Snow.
Like, they truly love Edmonton. They came here that first year at the deadline, and they didn't leave all summer. Like, he had his, I think, third kid in Edmonton. Like, they've embraced being Edmontonians, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. And again, limited experience meeting them, but they were just great to chat with as well in that moment. So cool. All right. Now we do have listeners in Saskatchewan. We have listeners in Manitoba. Kyle Connor, a great little clip by the Winnipeg Jets this morning at the KFC drive-thru. Did you catch that one? Anything come down on what's going on with Kyle Connor?
Yeah, so an 8-year deal, a $12 million AAV. So I'm not great at math, but that's $96 million. And how about this? When the Winnipeg Jets were sold back to Winnipeg from Atlanta, the purchase price was $110 million in 2011. So Kyle Connor's contract value is almost as high as what the Jets sold for a number of years ago, or were sold back to Winnipeg for. I like this from a couple of perspectives. There was this narrative about Edmonton for a long time before they became a cup contender, and there's still the narrative that no one wants to play in Winnipeg. And then you go and look, and it's like, well, Connor Hellebuck signed for the rest of his career in Winnipeg, and Mark Scheifele signed for the rest of his career in Winnipeg, and Neil Pionk signed for probably the rest of his career in Winnipeg, and now so does Kyle Connor. And like three of those guys, I think, are American-born players. So I love it because it can kind of, again, this should have been squashed after Scheifele and Hellebuck, but it can squash the narrative that people don't want to play in Winnipeg. I think maybe guys don't want to go to Winnipeg, but when they go there, they love it and they stay. And like now we can look at three legitimate star or superstar level players who have said, I will commit to being here for the rest of my prime, for the rest of my career. So I think that's really cool. I mean, for the fan base in Winnipeg to not have that story lingering over them the entire season. And, you know, if you're in the playoff bubble come deadline time, you don't have to have the conversations of like, oh, do you trade Kyle Connor while you can get something for him? Like, that narrative is just squashed and they can focus on winning, because I do think they've gone a little under the radar this year from the perspective of they were a 110-point team or close to it last season, and everyone kind of has them falling back to third in the Central, maybe a wild card spot. And now with this kind of cleared up, I think the path is there for them to be, once again, a really good team.
Yeah, and I know for the league it might be better for superstars to move around, but I'm old school. I love seeing those guys stick around, you know, play their careers out. You know, you see Crosby, what he did in Pittsburgh. I like seeing these guys stick around. I know the league probably needs them to move around, but I like seeing it. So, all right, man, this is why you're the professional. This is a great segue. I have my one last one for you. Either do you want to rank the Canadian teams, or do you want to say which Canadian teams do you think will make the playoffs this year? Either or. You decide which way you want to go.
I'll do like a hybrid of both here. I'm just pulling up the standings to make sure I don't miss anything. So the Leafs will still get in. I have no concerns about that. Like losing a 100-point guy in Marner, maybe they don't win the Atlantic, but I think they're in, and they're probably not even a wild card team. They're probably in one of those top three spots. I like Montreal. I know a lot of people are kind of picking them to regress. You know, last year wasn't quite an anomaly, but the goal differential doesn't really line up with where they finished. They had a high shooting percentage. That's usually a sign that things could fall back down. I still like Montreal. I think Demidov is really, really good. I think Dobson is going to be a good addition to that blue line. So I got the Habs getting into Ottawa. I'll put them third out of the Eastern teams and say that they'll be right on the bubble. Again, similar to Montreal. I wonder if maybe last year just a lot of things didn't go right for them. And like, if a New York or someone else is going to get in, like someone's got to fall out. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Ottawa. So I have them ranked third in the East out of the Canadian teams, a bubble team, we'll call them. Out West, Edmonton's number one. That's an easy one for me. I think they'll finish higher than Winnipeg in the standings this year, just because, again, I think Winnipeg will maybe take a step back. And I also think Winnipeg will lean less on Connor Hellebuck this year and really try to watch his minutes throughout the season. So I'll go Edmonton 1, Winnipeg 2. They're both in the playoffs. And I think that might be it. I think both Calgary and Vancouver will be on the outside looking in. I got Calgary ahead of Vancouver. I hate that Canucks center depth chart. Like, it's bad, bad. Goaltending, again, people keep pointing to Demko and being like, oh, well, Thatcher Demko's healthy and ready to go. People forget Kevin Lankinen was amazing for the first half of last season. Like, goaltending is absolutely not what caused them to crater last year. It was distractions off the ice and goal scoring. And they traded away JT Miller. So part of you, I guess, could say, well, they got the distraction out. Quinn Hughes' contract situation in his future, that's going to be a distraction.
That's
Elias Pettersson, if he's not performing well, that's still a distraction. I just think they're a bit of a mess. So I'll go Vancouver as a clear 4. And I think, once again, it's just Edmonton and Winnipeg getting in the West.
Yeah, I think Montreal is one of those maybe good vibes teams. You know, they got some good vibes around them. And my dad's a big Habs fan, so he'll appreciate you hyping them up a bit. And then, I had Calgary, Vancouver out as well. I know Calgary's going to be feisty with good goaltending, but All right, just to wrap up real quick, this is a wild card, what's your favorite piece of memorabilia that you have? Like, is it a jersey, a hat? Is there anything that stands out? I know you have quite the closet of stuff, but anything stand out as a special piece?
There's a couple of things that I really, really like. I do have, if anyone's like a hockey card junkie, I have a Connor McDavid Young Gun card, and I got it graded, and it's like it's a 9.5. It stays at my parents' house. My dad likes to keep it in his office, and I'm too scared to fight him for it. But that one is probably like the top piece of my collection. Growing up, I was a big Rick Nash fan, so I have a signed Rick Nash jersey on my wall, kind of like right behind my camera that I'm always looking at. So that one too is a good one. My dad got it for me when I was real young as a Christmas present, and then he forgot he got it for me. I think I was like 13. He forgot he got it for me, and I'm cleaning out the basement one day with him, and there's just like a black bag, and I rip it open, and I'm like, holy shit, like this is a signed, like imagine being 13 years old and you're doing a tedious chore, and you're like, this is a signed Rick Nash jersey. And my dad was like, oh shit, that's where I put that. Like that was for Christmas last year. And it's like, damn. So I like the story behind that one too. So those are the two that pop out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have a Draisaitl jersey, signed jersey. And this was in the 2017 season, I think. Can't quite remember. But I went to an event with an auction and ended up winning this jersey. It wasn't signed at the time. And the team, like, I don't want to call him the priest, but some spiritual guide with the team. We'll say that. He's like, hey, I'm going to get that signed by Draisaitl and I'll meet you in a couple of weeks and give it back to you. And I'm like, this is probably not happening. Sure enough, met the spiritual leader person again a few weeks later, signed Draisaitl jersey, and away I went. So it was pretty cool. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Look forward to having you as a guest each and every month throughout the hockey season here. Enjoy the home opener tonight. And how can people get a hold of you? What's your Twitter handle? What's the best spot?
Yeah, Twitter is probably the best spot to hit me at Tyler Yaremchuk. Same thing on Instagram. My DMs are open on both. So if anyone ever has a question or whatever, I'm always more than open to having a conversation. So yeah, Twitter, Instagram, easily the best two spots.
Awesome. Thanks, bud. Take care.
Yep. See ya.
Well, folks, a little curveball for you here as we brought Tyler into the show and just, mixing it up from a content perspective. We'll give it a try here, but I'm looking forward to those conversations and reviewing what's going on in the NHL and in the sporting world each and every month. Okay, so the voicemail. So if you go to whatthefuturespodcast.ca and hit the voicemail button, I did get a voicemail this week from Colin. So Colin is our first entry here into Colin Tuchscherer. He's our first entry into the voicemail contest for this month. Of course, we have a John Deere LED light that I don't have in front of me right now, but I promise you it's beautiful. All you have to do is go to the website, click the send voicemail button, and just make a declaration that you're going to sit down and update your crop marketing plan. All right, that's all you got to do. So let me know. Send that to me in the voicemail. Say, Ryan, it's Farmer A here. I am sat down. I have made my crop marketing plan for this rest of this winter. Just a declaration for yourself. All right. Anyone that does that gets their name entered into the contest, and you might even hear your voicemail played back on the What the Futures podcast. Okay, eating your veggies for this week. So I believe, folks, to my core here, that we are in an pricing environment from a crop marketing side here that you want to take advantage of. And that's going to provide a bit of a bounce, and that you're going to want to do something in this bounce. Okay? So I think it's a bounce that you have to take advantage of. That's what I want to say here. So what I would like you to do, don't run and put in an $8 wheat target. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is go out and get some of those targets in place. Targets that have some meaning behind them. Targets that have a chance. You need to move some grain shortly. You need to pay some bills. Give them a chance. All right. If the market is $7.20 for spring wheat in your area, don't do the $8 target. All right. Don't do that. That's a waste of paper right now. You can do that one later. Do that one for next spring, but not for December, January. All right. But go and get some targets out there. Part of getting that plan organized, getting that plan together, you may surprise yourself. It's been weird out there. It's been weird from a basis perspective. There's been little opportunities where, hey, my location's looking for a train of canola. The basis it's reasonable, I guess. I have an opportunity. Or my elevator's looking for a train of wheat or half a train of barley. Having those targets out there can be effective. Okay. All right. I wanted to grab my prop here for this week, my crop marketing workbook. You're going to get an updated version of this if you join us in Moose Jaw. We actually had a meeting on that today. So here's your marketing plan checklist for October. All right. So we've got targets as number one in eating your veggies. The second one here, I'll tell you all of them, but the second one, review next year's seeding plan and update your crop power rankings. Okay? Update those crop power rankings. I thought we'd talk about them today. I'm going to save them for the live show on Tuesday. All right? Crop power rankings coming at you shortly. So that's number two. Review next year's seeding plans, and along with that crop power ranking. I do about 16 crops. I think you should do half a dozen. Give it a try. Last thing for eating your veggies right here, guys. First one, book my ticket to the Crop Marketing Made Cool conference. All right, right up to the camera there. First one, book my ticket to the Crop Marketing Made Cool conference. That's where we're at, folks. Less than a couple dozen seats available. There you go. That's eating your veggies for this week. All right, let's get into it here with Kyle Gibson from Ag i3 and just a little fun we're going to have getting teed up for the Harvest Hustle contest and the trip to Halifax. Alrighty, folks, I've got Kyle Gibson joining me from Ag i3 this week. Kyle, are you making your show debut, or is this your first time?
This is my first time. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
We've had Lisa has been on the show. John's been on the show. Mark has been on the show. Now we got the right guy here. We got the right guy for us. So
I think Ray's been on the show too.
Ray was probably the first one. You bet.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. How's the year at Ag i3? We're wrapping up harvest here. You know, just broad brush it. I know there's pain points out there, but you know, what'd you guys kind of learn this year? Are you at that point yet that you can talk about it?
Yeah, we're just finishing up harvest. Like you said, there's still a lot of pockets that are ongoing right now, especially in parts of Manitoba and eastern Saskatchewan. What we've seen for the most part, I'd say, is that so compared to last year, everybody went in thinking here's my expectation, and it came out below the expectation. What we've seen so far from our farms is everything's coming back above their expectations. So overall, It hasn't been a terrible year. Obviously, prices don't agree with that, but production-wise, It's been okay.
Well, that's great. We obviously, the more bushels you can get, it helps on the price side. So exactly. All right, Kyle. So you know, over at Ag i3, you just maybe give the listeners just a quick little, you know, background or you know, like a one-liner. What you guys actually do over at Ag i3?
Sure. Overall, I'd say we're an enterprise risk management company. Right? Our focus right now is on insurance, throughout Western Canada, so Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. Our primary product is crop insurance. It works very complementary with the government insurance. And then we do actually sell property insurance now as well.
Okay, so if I want to take my buildings and my equipment and find some insurance quotes on that, you're in that space now as well?
Exactly. We work right across the prairies. And so the idea is that if you ever think about agriculture insurance, you should be thinking about Ag i3, so that we can service different products like our Forward Protect, the grain contract insurance. We have other crop insurance products. We're launching property and some new products that'll be coming out in 2026 as well.
All right, awesome. And we're going to talk about the Harvest Hustle. We're going to talk about Halifax in a second. But before we get to that, is there anything kind of like new and exciting or anything you want to tell the listeners here across the prairie, something you guys are focused on for 2026?
Yeah, I'd say right now we're growing. That's the biggest thing. And so as we go into 2026, we're actually hiring right now. We're looking for crop insurance brokers to join the team. But as we go into 2026, we are excited to be launching a new product, a bit of a tweak on Agri Enhance. And then as we expand into property and commercial, I think what people will start to see is that you have a holistic insurance opportunity by going right with Ag i3. Okay.
All right. So you said you're looking to grow the team as well. If someone hears that here, how do they get more information? Where can we point them to if they're looking at a career move here with Ag i3?
Yeah, really, if you head to the website, agi3.ai, that's the perfect place to go. We have the email that's information@agi3.ai. And then we do have brokers all throughout the prairies. And so if you know somebody there, reach out. They can always contact me as well.
Perfect. Great stuff. So folks, you may not know this, but I get to see statistics of where, the show is listened to across the globe, 25 countries and counting. Thank goodness farmers take vacation, because my that list of countries grows every winter. But anyways, we have a sweet spot in the Maritimes, and in Halifax specifically, we really pop when it comes to podcast listens. And I got a message from Jeff a few weeks ago. Jeff, what's Jeff's role at Egg i3? By the way, I forgot to look it up before recording.
Yeah, so Jeff Labrash, he's with actually ARM Consulting. So that's our technology partner. It's a Canadian-based kind of insurance consulting company. And so, yeah, I actually used to fly in the military with Jeff. And so he had reached out. He heard it on your podcast. He's a pretty frequent listener of yours. And we came to you and thought about this new idea.
Yeah. So, it was great getting a message from him and saying, we're thinking of this. And so, basically, folks, so the Harvest Hustle, it's obviously you submit your harvest photo, you get a chance to win 2 tickets to watch the Canadian Olympic curling trials. You've got your hotel covered, your flights are covered, you've got meals in the VIP lounge for the entire week. This is 8 days of Canadiana curling Olympic trials. And we're missing one thing. We're missing some transportation. So Egg i3 has stepped up. Jeff has stepped up and said, hey, Ryan, I would love to get these folks from the airport to the hotel. I'd love to get them back from that hotel to the airport when they're ready to go. And Egg i3 put their hand up and said, what do you think? And so I thought that was a great idea. Obviously, now we've got even more bases covered when it comes to the Harvest Hustle contest, which does, you have to get your entries in by October 20th. So don't forget that, folks. But yeah, Kyle, I appreciate you guys stepping up for a little bit of transportation. Jeff is a local to Halifax, right? He's the guy. He knows where to go in the hot spots. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. He lives right in Halifax. He grew up there. And so it works perfect. I've been to Halifax a few times, but it's growing. It's been changing a lot. So we thought having a local person on the ground, you could ask questions to, figure out where to go, where the best restaurants are. And then, a little bit of transportation thrown in there too.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys stepping up. Kyle, thanks for coming on the show this week, and look forward to seeing what you guys you unveil here over the next weeks and months. I know you'll be active in the circuit here this winter, get in front of farmers and updating everyone on the latest. So I look forward to seeing that as well.
Thanks, Ryan. No, appreciate it. Like you said, we're excited for 2026.
Awesome. Take care, man.
Yeah, you take care. Cheers.
Well, folks, I always like to give a hand and a thank you to those service departments and the parts departments over there with our John Deere dealerships. They get put into some very interesting situations when the pressure's up. Where are the parts located? Do I have them? How far away are they? How fast can I get them? Troubleshooting. I was talking to a farmer the other day. His John Deere technicians were out, bright lights. Those guys have all the good equipment, right? And they're out there in the dark, well past midnight, making sure he was ready to rock and roll for the next day. So just a shout out to all the folks out there in our John Deere service and parts departments that have gone through it as well with us this harvest. I was golfing again with the boys earlier this week, and a word I hadn't heard for a while was Greenlight. We were talking about all sorts of stuff. You get talking on the golf course when you're out there having some fun, and greenlighting our equipment, greenlighting our John Deere combines. That was a topic of conversation. I just hadn't heard Greenlight, and we're talking about greenlighting for a minute. So it just caught my attention this week. And of course, that's a good inspection after you've ran that equipment, ran that combine for the season to get that done. So reach out to your local John Deere dealership and talk to them about the Greenlight options available for you and your farm. Alrighty, folks. We're approaching the end here. Kind of a neat idea, though, to have a little transportation from the airport to the hotel and back. And we'll see what else they come up with Open to suggestions with the winner on that one, folks over at Ag i3. All right, so from a crop markets perspective, I would just kind of highlight a couple last things here. Obviously, yellow, or all the pulse markets are showing some strength, but yellow peas not really climbing this week per se, but I would say that $7.25 to $8 spread, like that is out there across the prairies. You might see a little bit better than that. Some of these prices now are getting posted out into later in the calendar year. All right, so like we're October, like December, but to me this is a little selling opportunity for yellow peas. Green peas, all of $11 or better on those green peas now for low bleach. Maple peas showing some strength in the $12 range. Red lentils, I saw some 23 cents per pound here now on those reds. And I don't know if I've seen anything better than that lately. I saw a bunch of 23s though. So I think that's a little bit better this week as well. So a bit of strength there. And again, some of that is you guys locking it in the bin for sure. That demand coming in and you locking it in the bin. Other than that, I'd say it's been kind of quiet. Feed grains have been quiet. Malt has been quiet. Kind of dull. Canola futures, as of recording here, the January contract, we're kind of switching over to January, trading at 6.29. It's not showing us a big move here by any means, but, we did trade as low as 6.10. And we're up from that. Okay. So we'll see some quiet optimism there. The wheat market, again, for now, finding a bottom. And hey, as of recording, up 4.5 cents on the December contract at $5.60 for Minneapolis wheat. Honestly, when I look at that chart, it's got a nice little pop up in it tonight. And, we were $5.50, now we're $5.60. Again, I won't get super excited until we get to the $6 range. All right. Can we get there? When can we get there? That's what we need. The last thing I'll add here is basis. We basis across the prairies when the company needs it or wants it. The basis they're offering is actually not that bad. It's actually pretty darn good historically. And so you have that drop in the Canadian dollar kind of helping out right now. That exchange is helping. And so it's just something to consider, to look at. If you can kind of marry that up with a little pop in futures, maybe decide to sell it at the price and re-own a bit on paper, something like that. It's just something to look at. Okay. All right. That's it for this episode 96. So we are cruising towards 100. Please share the episode with your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues in Western Canadian agriculture. Certainly appreciate it. And go hit that subscribe button for me on YouTube. Go hit that button for me wherever you subscribe to your podcast, Apple, Spotify. You'll get an alert when we put out a new episode. And I appreciate your time. Appreciate you hanging out with me for the What the Futures podcast. My name is Ryan, and I'm out of here.